Hey everyone, I'm Tassenix, and welcome back to another mod guide video. Today we're going to be covering Bo-Katan Kryze, the lesser of the two Bo-Katans. I've already done a video on Bo-Katan Mandalore. If you're looking for that one, look in the description for this video. I've got a link to her. But before we go ahead and talk about Bo-Katan, she can be applied under a couple of leaderships. What's really important about her is that she can restore health and protection to your team when Mandalorian allies attack out of turn. So while in the modern sense we're mostly running her under BKM, you could run her under Maul and have that be effective, like main Maul, not Darth Maul, but like actual Maul, Conquest character Maul. There might be some other lesser Mandalorian compositions you might try, but aside from her leadership being BKM, I did want to mention the Maul case. So, all that said, let's talk about how BKM's lead affects her real quick, and then we'll jump into Bo-Katan Kryze's kit. Alright, so, Way of the Mandalore. Turn this on. Alright, light side Mandalorian allies gain 40% defense, max health, and offense. Light side Mandalorian allies gain 5% defense, stacking, max 30% for each debuff on them. Whenever a light side Mandalorian ally deals true damage, dispels a debuff, or resists a debuff, all light side Mandalorian allies gain 1 stack of Ancestral Resolve, maximum of 100 stacks, until the end of the encounter, which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented. Whenever an ally attacks an enemy inflicted with Armor Shred, all light side Mandalorian tank allies taunt for 1 turn, maximum 2 times per turn. And with the Omicron, while in Grand Arenas, the leadership also provides light side Mandalorian allies gain 50% mastery, max health, and then plus 30 speed. At the start of each encounter, light side Mandalorian tank allies taunt for 2 turns. If there are other active enemies, excluding summons, the first light side Mandalorian ally that is defeated each battle is revived and recovers 50% max health and protection. All light side Mandalorian allies gain 1 additional stack of Ancestral Resolve whenever a light side Mandalorian ally deals true damage, dispels a debuff, or resists a debuff. So what does this mean for Bo-Katan Kryze? She takes advantage of all of this. She'll be getting hit like anyone else, so the defense is nice. Max health would generally mean that her primaries are her, like if you're, for survivability, you might want to go health-wise for her, right? And then offense, nice. Good synergy there for added offense. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about Bo-Katan Kryze's unique, which is definitely the most valuable part of her kit. Alright, at the start of battle, Mandalorian allies gain 20% max protection for each Mandalorian ally until the first time Bo-Katan, we'll just call her Bo-Katan, is defeated. Whenever a Mandalorian ally attacks out of turn, Mandalorian allies recover 8% health and protection. So yeah, on the BKM team, who all can trigger this? BKM herself has a mass assist. IG-12 and Grogu has 2 abilities that call to assist. And then if you also had Armor on the same team with her, her mass assist calling ability would trigger this as well. So you can see how powerful this is, especially in GAC where you're trying to maximize banners these days. All right, let's go to her leadership, her basic. Practiced Aim. Deal physical damage to target enemy. If it's Bo-Katan's turn, inflict vulnerable for 1 turn. Otherwise, deal 50% more damage. Nice. All right, her first special, Crippling Strike. Dispel all buffs on all enemies. Then daze them for 2 turns and deal physical damage to them. So this is, I misspoke, it's not her first special, it's her only special. But it's pretty good. First, we dispel all buffs. That's the first effect that goes down. So it's a dispel that goes down first, then attempt to daze them. So if they have tenacity up, whatever you're worried about, that's fine. The dispel effect goes out ahead of the attempt to apply daze, and then deal physical damage. So we're hearing, added offense with a condition on basic. We deal added damage on this. Her leadership, I'll speak on it, but it's going to be very rarely used because where you'd use her, there's almost always going to be a better Mandalorian leader to use with her. That said, unite the clans. Whenever a Mandalorian ally uses a basic ability during their turn, they call another random Mandalorian ally to assist, dealing 20% less damage, limit once per turn. Whenever a Mandalorian ally attacks on a turn, they gain 25% crit damage, up to 5 stacks of that, until the end of the next turn. And then they get this ancestral armor ability, all of her allies, which it's an activated ability, it's a dispel. It gives them defense up, taunt, tenacity up. It kind of, allows for kind of a taunt juggle. This exists, and if you're fighting at the level of the game where you have this character and you have some other Mandalorians, but you don't have BKM, you don't have Maul, you have a case for considering this. Otherwise, don't bother. All right, talking about team comps where we feature Bo-Katan Kryze. So in just short answer, let me start from the bottom here. In 3 versus 3, I don't think she has a role with BKM. I think, all the characters shown here, this is about turn order. So you're seeing Grogu ahead of BKM here. That's why. Bo-Katan would still be the lead, but you don't have any room for Bo-Katan Kryze here in 3s with this team. So maybe with Maul, like you could do like a Maul, Canderous, and Bo-Katan team, Bo-Katan Kryze on offense, have the opportunity to, finish with really high banners, so long as you know how you're picking that fight. Now, in 5 vs 5, I've said this in the last couple of Mandalorian character videos, I do consider Bo-Katan Kryze to be part of the core 4. Because of that banner restoration aspect of her unique, she's just great to have. So yeah, IG-12 and Grogu ahead of BKM, ahead of Bo-Katan, ahead of Paz. It's nice to have her do this dispel ahead of him attempting to apply a whole bunch of debuffs or do damage. It's nice. As far as other uses here, so yeah, when you're doing armor in the 5-man comp, it would be armor, who's probably going to be your fastest character, over Grogu, over BKM, over Bo-Katan, over Paz. And remember, she's got that mass assist ability, so that feeds into the unique. If you're not running armor, you can be running BAM in here with Bo-Katan. There's a great interaction between these characters. Again, I cover that in the BKM video. But yeah, IG-12 and Grogu, faster than BAM, faster than BKM, faster than Bo, and then with Paz at the base. And then, if you don't want to use armor or BAM in this comp, because you might want BAM to be his own team, or you might like armor with your Sith Eternal or your Slacker, depending on what you like. Maybe even something else. Okay, fine. You can still have your Bo-Katan lead team, but you have Grogu faster than BKM, faster than Bo-Katan Kryze, faster than Sabine, faster than Paz, and this is like your best value 5 vs 5 team. All right, let's talk about her mods. So I took a look at a couple different people's, and most of them are pretty similar. So again, I'm just going to highlight a couple different folks. I guess I should cover mine before I cover Aesop's. So I went back in the day with offense and protection. Strictly speaking, her unique restoring 8% health and protection, and assuming that protection in general is giving more points of survivability of life total than health per primary, I decided a long time ago to go with protection primaries all the way around. Her role in the team is to provide that unique, and then, as the occasion allows, dispel. I've actually sped her up since then. Let me show her to you in game so that we're talking straight up. So yeah, she's about 283 speed. You want her to be safely behind whatever the speed is on your BKM, because you just don't want that drama. You don't want there to be a poor sequence. Aside from that, it doesn't matter too much. So yeah, she's 283 speed. Over 100% potency. Remember, she does have a daze to apply, as well as vulnerable on basic, but I don't really care so much about that. The AoE daze could be nice. So the golden rule for me is, if it's a character that we care about applying debuffs with, I don't want them to be under 100% potency. It'd be great if this was even a little higher, like 110, but I could live with this, okay? That's the important part. And because I made the effort to have her in an offense set, which, You have synergy there with the BKM offense gain. You see that her abilities also have a significant damage component. Yeah, throwing her up over 10,000 offense, that's pretty darn good. Now, we're not making any special effort to have her in a crit damage triangle, so the punch from this, it won't be quite as high as it possibly could be if it was either offense or crit damage. But again, it's about survivability here. So as far as primaries go, I have speed. I could also see you making the case for a very fast protection primary here, or health, right? We'll cover the health reason just because of the BKM lead in a minute. But yeah, like I said, I went with protection here, so more protection. This one's a health just because it happens to have a huge offense secondary on it, and this didn't have a better home at the time, so why let it languish and go to waste, you know? So I could clarify this set and shift it more towards health over time, but like I said, this has been some very effective back in the day modding. And yeah, so you see that we have a decent amount of potency added throughout. You don't have to have a 2-piece of health here like I do. You could do potency if that helps you hit this potency target or exceed it even easier. But yeah, I was able to pull this off with offense and health with a bunch of potency secondaries. You can kind of do your way that you want to hit that number for the 100%. But, you know, as fast as you can within that turn order that I showed earlier, add as much offense as possible. That's kind of what I went with. All right. So let me shift this back over and show you Aesop's. So this makes sense. You're going to see these 3 health primaries and a speed arrow. It's actually a pretty interesting set, right? This isn't an offense set. This is kind of purely based on survivability and making sure that he can have at least 100% potency. So this is really interesting to show because it's very specialized for BKM, right? Under BKM lead, we'll have that extra % offense and health, not to mention the speed and blah, 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 blah. So 9,000 offense without any type of offense set, decent. Again, he has the 100% potency. He has 291 speed. He's even faster than I am, but he's still very likely respecting that turn order that I showed earlier. And then his health is over 100,000. That's incredible. Again, for context, mine is all of 70,000 here, right? Just a smidge under 70K. So he's gaining quite a bit more survivability through that. And then it's further compounding as they're stacking Ancestral Resolve under BKM lead. So I wanted to show that because there's a couple different viable ways to do it, but you're looking for certain marks of speed in terms of turn order. I went for more offense for more bang for the buck. Everybody seems to kind of agree having enough potency to count matters. And then you decide if you want to have that more protection modding, which I would argue allows her to be more flexible in more places, right? This whole health thing seems pretty specialized to a leader or to being on a team that's otherwise giving out % max health. Nonetheless, if you're like me, where this is pretty much where you're only going to be using this character from here on out, this is worth considering. That said, you know, to wrap this portion up, I know you guys like to hear about compositions. I've covered this a couple different ways. Where is that tab? Yeah, so this is 5 vs 5 in last season when, you know, we had the Bo-Katan crown, but in general, you're trying to gobble up teams that want to do debuffs. BKM lead wants to be debuffed, and then she can just shrug it off and dispel it and convert that to more Ancestral Resolve, which is more true damage. It's a nasty bit of business, but you always have to, you know, look with respect to whatever the datacrons are. That said, these were really favorable matchups in the past. DTMG, Lord Vader, Reva. Let's see, what else? I know JMK can be beaten because of the revive mechanic baked into BKM lead, so you can kind of get through that. Slacker, definitely in the past. I don't know right now, probably, maybe. But there's a new First Order Cron at the time of this recording, which makes Slacker very, very scary. And yeah, stuff like Trench, you can certainly overkill. Now you're getting out into the weeds, though. And then as far as 3 versus 3 goes, more of the same suspects from 5. Your Lord Vaders, your Revas, DTMG. Of course, something like Saw would get crushed. Interesting that it was stomping on Jabba when this was the high point of the Doubtcrons. So this would be probably even safer to do at right now. JMK again, and now we start getting into lesser teams. Interesting that it failed on Alea. So yeah, hopefully this gives you some insight on how to set her up. You can be pretty flexible with her. She is a supporting character. She isn't meant to be the star of the show, so you have a lot more latitude in how you want to set her up. Just give her enough speed, give her enough potency, and I think she'll be dressed for success no matter which way you go. Thank you for watching the video, and yeah, I'll keep on here with the last few characters in the Mandalorian faction. We'll talk about who your options are. So as of the end of this video, I will have covered what I consider to be the 4 core characters of the BKM faction: BKM, Paz, Grogu, and now Bo-Katan Kryze. And then I'll make a video talking about the so-called last slot characters. Try and give you some thoughts on how to set them up, not only for BKM but perhaps for general use where it makes sense if it's different. And yeah, that should about wrap up the faction. So again, thank you so much for the warm feedback, kind comments here. Keep it up, keep it coming. Let me know what you want to see. Let me know what you want to see me do differently if you're not liking something in the videos. But otherwise, until next time, it's been real, it's been awesome, it's been real awesome. Take care.